The one thing that a lot of people talk about is the Tata culture, the Tata way of life. If you work for the Tatas, on the one hand, it's almost as we are working for a family. On the other, it's almost as if you're part of a legacy. How have successive leaders, you, before you, JRD, how have you managed to retain that Tata culture in times which are sadly materialistic, competitive? How have you maintained that culture?
First of all, that culture becomes embodied in the DNA of an organization. It's set off by the early leaders, the founder in our case, who never was in need of wealth because he had it all, but it wasn't what drove him. Success of giving India its own independence in steel or power or the hospitality area were what gave him the pride that he had made India self-sufficient. He didn't at that time look at the companies as being his, but belonging to the country. Somehow that prevailed through the years, through his sons, and then through JRD Tata for 50 years or so, where JRD would stand in a line rather than jump a queue.
Yeah.
Where he would give way to a customer first and not him. And that humility, I think, became embodied in what all the leaders of Tata companies had done. And we should protect that ferociously. The day we lose that, I think we've lost an important facet or input in the companies that we have. And the day we decide to cheat, the day we decide to do something that holds something for us and not for the customer, I think we will have lost a very, very important asset.
Has it been tough to stick by these values, especially during times when values were being trampled upon because of politics, competition, blah, blah, blah? Were there times that you often felt that, thank God, we are not the shortcut Tatas? Because you could have taken that shortcut.
Yes, I'd be lying if I said there weren't moments when those issues came up and those decisions had to be made. Happily, at every time, boards stood together and leadership stood together in saying that's not what we do. We, over the years, on occasion, have suffered as a result of that. But on the whole, I think we have, I believe that it's very important to come back at night and say, I have not succumbed.
I love that. Because it's very easy to succumb.
Yeah.
I mean, you must have faced political pressure, economic pressures, and yet you stood the course.
Sometimes you didn't know if you were doing the right thing. All things are not black and white. You have a choice. One choice leads you down a certain path long term. Another leads you down another path short term. And then you have to weigh one issue against another. Hopefully you make the right decision. Sometimes we don't, but we do it with innocence or naivety rather than intent and negativity. So I think that's a sort of dilemma that faces many leaders in the corporate world or politics. So it does in the business community too.